All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Crew Show with a little 49er video. Make sure you check out Pig and a Pickle. 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. And, man, the story of the day in the NFL, 49ers, of course, have the bye week, but the Ravens knock off the Seahawks. Game's not over yet, but the Ravens are rolling to 7-2. Niners-Ravens go on Christmas, and that is going to be a hell of a game. And with this loss, of course, Seattle, for Seattle, the Niners take over first place in the NFC West. Now, let's talk a little bit about both teams. One, I don't know about you guys, but I am not a believer in Seattle. By the way, we should tell you this video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check that link in the description and use the promo code Krug, and they'll match you up to $100. Underdog Fantasy, a proud sponsor of the Krug Show as well. But Seahawks, I think, are not as good as people think. Niners get them there on Thanksgiving, and then 2 weeks later they get them at Levi's. And I know there's a lot of people going, oh, Seattle, Seattle, Seattle. And they got Frank Clark, and they just had big Leonard Williams. But I'm not a believer in the Seahawks, offensively or defensively. I don't think they're a big-time contender. And I think it showed today against the Ravens. The Ravens just destroyed them. Last time I looked, it was 30-3. Geno Smith he's just a guy. He's not great. He's just okay. Last I checked, he was 8 of 18 for 106 yards and a pick. Seattle has offensive line problems right now. They can't run the football. They ran for 2.1 a carry. Kenneth Walker ran for less than 2 yards a carry, 9 carries for 16 yards, 1.8 a carry. So, you could look at this game two ways. Is it what Seattle isn't, or is it, man, beware of the Baltimore Ravens? Either way, the Niners have 3 games left on their schedule against the Ravens and the Seahawks. 2 against Seattle, 1 against Baltimore. I would say watch out for Baltimore. Baltimore, Zay Flowers didn't even play today. They've got Mark Andrews, OBJ, Rashad Bateman. They got a young back out of East Carolina named Keaton Mitchell, who's got a lot of speed. He had a touchdown. Last I checked, he had 7 carries for 78 yards and a touchdown and was averaging almost 11 yards a carry. Lamar Jackson was 21 of 26 last time I looked. Baltimore ran for 200-plus yards in this game and 7.2 a carry. So, and just looking at the box score minutes ago, Baltimore had a 23-6 first down advantage on Seattle. They totally dominated Seattle, the Ravens defense did, on third down. Geno Smith and the boys were 1 for 10. 1 for 10 converting third downs. Seattle is being held to 144 total yards, and they were being outrushed 210-29. Those are dominating numbers for Baltimore. Baltimore also had a 2-1 time of possession advantage. So while I'm not a believer in Seattle, and that's good news because the Niners have 2 games coming up with Seattle, I'm a major believer in the Ravens. If the Ravens can run the ball, and this Keaton Mitchell kid's got speed, their other backs are just kind of eh. They lost J.K. Dobbins early in the year, and Gus Edwards, and I'm not a big fan of their other backs, but I love Keaton Mitchell. He's on my fantasy team in the 95-7 the game league, so they can run the ball. They got a pretty good line. Lamar Jackson, as I said last time I looked, was 21 of 26. He's a high percentage thrower. He can convert third downs with his legs. And then on defense, man, the Ravens are legit. Patrick Queen, the former LSU stars on this defense. The former A&M star, Justin Matabuke, had a sack today. He's a force in the middle. Roquan Smith, the former Bear, is now in Baltimore. He's a big-time guy. Off the edge, they've got Adafe Owe. He had a sack, and he runs like 4.5 off the edge. Baltimore had 4 sacks in this game. They put a lot of heat on you. Geno Stone had an interception for the Ravens. So, Niners Ravens on Christmas at Levi's is going to be that matchup's going to be lit. I mean, that is going to be a hell of a matchup. And all I would say is, man, I hope the 49ers have it going before that game, because if they get into that game and it's a must win, that's going to be a very difficult game to win. The Ravens run the ball, they stop the run, they get you into third and long, and then they tee off. And they've got a lot of good athletes on their defense, and they've got Lamar, and Lamar may be the MVP this year. We'll see how it all goes. But Lamar's playing great. They run the hell out of the ball. They're really great at home. And of course, the Niners get them at Levi's, so that's the good news. But they can run the ball. And if you said to me right now, who's looking the best, I would say Baltimore in the AFC, because the way they run the ball. I mean, obviously Kansas City got a big win today over Miami in Frankfurt, Germany. But Baltimore, the way they run the football, and the Eagles, the way they run the football, it's gonna be really hard to knock those two teams off. But my takeaway today is twofold. One, Seattle's not nearly good enough. Seattle is, this talk that, big bad Seattle. Seattle's had injuries on their offensive line. Adding Clark and Leonard Williams to their defensive line will help. They've got some decent defensive backs, no question. The rookie from Illinois is awesome, Witherspoon. But I think Seattle's just okay. I think Seattle's more of like a middle of the pack team. I don't look at them as a Super Bowl contender at all. I think the 49ers are going to sweep Seattle. But, after watching this game this morning, I would say watch out for the Ravens. We talk about the AFC. What do we talk about? We talk about Buffalo, Kansas City, Miami gets a lot of headlines. The Ravens are just kind of quietly moving along there, and they can run the ball, and they play killer D. So, Niner fans know all about the Baltimore Ravens and John Harbaugh and the way they, the organization they've built. Eric DeCosta is one of the best GMs in the game. John Harbaugh is one of the best head coaches in the game. Lamar Jackson's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. And they've got a good line and can run the football. So, and then their defense has been the best. So if their defense continues to play incredible ball and shut down teams and dominate, and Lamar just is a high percentage thrower and they can run the football, I will say this: if you don't have Keaton Mitchell on your fantasy team, you might want to get him, because I think for the next 5-6 weeks, Keaton Mitchell is going to be a major force in fantasy. We'll see on that. But watch out for the Ravens. The Ravens are legit. There's no question in my mind they're a big-time Super Bowl contender. Their D is legit. Lamar is legit. And they got a smothering win today over the Seahawks. All right, thanks to Underdog Fantasy for being one of our sponsors. Make sure you check that link in the description and hit that promo code Krug, and they'll match you up to $100. And, of course, thanks to our title sponsor, Pig and a Pickle. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go say hi to Damon and Mary, get some brisket. Tell them the Krug sent you. And thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.